Do you know why so many developers don't create great products? It's because they suck at communicating. Don't get me wrong, so many developers, they're geniuses, but this comes at the cost of communicating properly. Listen, I know you want that dopamine rush, so I'm gonna give you 3 tips right now that are gonna satisfy that urge. Number 1, boil each and everything you want to communicate down into effective chunks. Number 2, speak in analogies and metaphors. And number 3, speak like a 3rd grader. Okay, there you go. That's the summary. You probably want to know how to apply these things, right? So stay tuned. If that satisfied you, you may leave, please. But if you're a real G, let me break down these concepts so you can apply them properly. Number 1, boil it down and boil it down again. What does that mean? When I was 20 years old, I had my first programming job ever. The 2 bosses I had were non-technical, meaning they didn't know shit about code. 20-year-old me used to talk to them as if they were developers. I would tell them, yes, today, this week, I'm going to create a React page. I'm going to create a React plugin. I'm going to use these APIs. I'm going to make sure cron jobs were going to be running so that the databases were synced. What the fuck do you think they understood from that? This, combined with the fact that I was a stupid dumb fuck who couldn't code anything in the first place back when I was 20, ultimately got me fired. They didn't understand what I was doing, and I was doing a shit job at it. So those 2 things combined ultimately led me to being fired. Now, none of us want that shit, no? You see, compare this to when I was 22, 23, when I was working at a very cool startup. This company also had non-technical founders. It was my job to break down these tasks as clearly as possible for these founders. You see, instead of saying that I'm going to create this React page that's going to call this API and do that with this backend, I would tell them stuff like, I'm going to make sure your customers have a speedy landing page. I'm going to make sure that all your customer data is accessible wherever you want it to be, in whatever platform you want it, Google Sheets, Notion, whatever. You can use your existing sign-up flow from Typeform and integrate it with our new full stack app. Don't worry about it, we'll get it covered. You see, it's a very different way of thinking. You need to understand as a developer what the technical requirements are as well as what the expectations are. And then you need to match it and form a bridge between the 2. Now, if you're only surrounded by developers in your job force, it's a different thing. For me, I was not necessarily surrounded by technical people. So the job for me was always to break down my plans and my results into bite-sized ways that non-technical people could easily consume. Number 2, simplify and use analogies. Let me illustrate this point with an example. Let's talk about IPs for a minute. I can sit here and tell you that an IP address it stands for Internet Protocol, which is a protocol used for Wi-Fi and routers. You have 2 types of IPs. You have a 32-bit IP, IPv4, or IPv6, 128 bits. I can keep telling you all this technical shit. But if I was a non-technical person, I would lose you as soon as you start talking about bits and shit, about protocols. Who the fuck talks about protocols? What if I told you that an IP address is just like a phone number for each and every device that connects to the internet? You have a unique phone number, I have a unique phone number, and whenever I want to dial you, all I need to do is find your IP number and just click on it on your phone. Using these simplification techniques and analogy building is a surefire way of making sure whoever you're talking to understands what you're trying to convey. You see what I mean? And then the 3rd point, speaking like a 3rd grader. This is my favorite one. There have been studies that show that if you use 3rd grade language in your user interfaces or your websites or whatever, people tend to stick around longer. Now, there was this very funny study done where they compared the speeches of politicians, right? Like Hillary, like Joe Biden, Trump, etc. And they figured out that if you speak at a 3rd grade level, people tend to listen more. You see, it's easy for your brain to understand when you're just listening to someone. Let me give you an example. Our software development team is looking for a way to incorporate a new machine learning algorithm in order to improve the accuracy for our predictive analytics. Now, I'm a coder, I understand what that means, but if I just want to talk to someone and they're a coder or they're a non-technical person, I don't necessarily have to go spew this shit out, right? Instead of saying all that complex stuff, I can just say something like, our tech team is working on a program to make our predictions better. You see, I said it so simply, so easily, and I conveyed the same exact message that I was trying to convey with that very difficult text. It's been proven that communicating in a 3rd grade level improves retention rate, not only in written text, but as well as spoken text. And that's pretty sick. So if you want people to listen to you, speak in a 3rd grade language. And listen, this is not only for humans. Right now in 2023, not to date myself, but AI is going to take over. Now, lucky for you and me, AI doesn't speak computer code. It speaks English. Have you seen these AIs? Have you seen stuff like AutoGPT? These cognitive architecture, they speak English with each other. That's because OpenAI and all these other AI companies have trained their models to speak in English and to communicate in English. The faster you learn how to put your ideas, boil your ideas down onto paper, the faster you learn how to put your instructions clearly into words, the faster you're going to be able to build great products. Not only in a collaborative setting with humans, but also in a collaborative setting with AI. It is only if we become confident, charming, ambitious developers that we're going to survive this AI revolution. You're probably watching this video because you want to become a better developer. But let me tell you something. Technological advancement is coming to a halt. They say AI is going to be the last invention of humanity. You need to look for the skills that transcend technological innovation. You need to be charming. You need to be ambitious. You need to be a visionary person. Because when the time comes and AI takes over, we're fucked. The only people who are going to survive are the people who are able to bring people together, who are able to communicate ideas effectively. Leaders of their tribes, and I know you have it in you. You and I need to make sure we end up in the right spot in history. I don't want our grandchildren to ask us, Grandpa, why didn't you do anything in the 2020s when everybody was able to make so much money? I want the best for you. Learn how to communicate properly. I'm sure these techniques are going to help you be a better communicator. It is in society's lifeblood to create these applications, these software infrastructures. And because you and me are coders, we need to do a good job, because with great power comes great responsibility. I know it's cringy as shit, but it's true. Listen, there's a link in the description for a community filled with interesting developers, interesting engineers who want to be visionary-like, who want to be ambitious. I want you to join our clan. I want you to strengthen it so that we can create beautiful products. Alright? Listen, life is a gift given by the gods to make a proper use of it. I'll see you in the next video. Please work hard, communicate properly, and let you and me, let us just build great apps. Okay? Take care. I'll see you soon. Love you. Take care. Bye.